Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. It's time for the prospect season review. I was going to wait until all the playoffs are finished, but a commenter very eager to know about the Utah prospects and how they did after this season. Albeit there's very few players still left playing in the playoffs, and I'll add to that as well. We'll start in the Western Hockey League. Unfortunately, Iginla, like other prospect videos, he was injured early in the season-long injury. So not much to talk about him. He's one of our top prospects. I just hope for a successful 100% recovery. It was a hip injury. He had surgery, so nothing but hopefully the best for Iginla. But we go to defenseman Justin Kipke, drafted in the 5th round, captain for his team, the Victoria Royals. He's 6'3", 207 pounds. A great production in terms of offense, 62 points in 64 games played this season. The red numbers are last season numbers, so you want to see an increase from red to blue. If you just see one line of blue, it's their first year in that particular league. It's not really fair to compare leagues to other leagues. So Kipke, he had 13 points in 11 playoff games. He lost in round 2. I'm excited for Kipke. I believe he holds the record for his team in terms of goals by defenseman. He was 5th in the WHL in terms of points by defenseman. The Utah Scouts, they love what he brings, but he sort of maybe relies on his stick a little bit too much, doesn't really think first in terms of playing physical. He relies on his stick more than engaging physically, which is interesting. It seems like whenever the scouts talk or Bill Armstrong talks, they want their players to be physical, and that just continues to be said like day after day. Whenever I hear blurbs from scouts or Bill Armstrong, they just want to play harder, more competitive, and be more physical against the opposition. Next, we'll go to Goldsmith, Terrell Goldsmith, drafted in the 4th round, another defenseman. He's 6'4", 218 pounds. Unfortunately, his season ended in March. He was taken to the hospital mid-game. They had to cancel the game. I believe it was due to a fight. He was sent to the hospital after the fight. He signed an entry-level contract with Utah, so we should see him with the Roadrunners next season. It's nice he had a little bit of an increase in terms of offensive production, going from 15 points in 66 games played to 16 points in 56 games played. So good stuff by Terrell Goldsmith. Then we go to Vetti Vasanen. He played in Finland last year, so it's his first year in North America. His team, the Medicine Hat Tigers, they're currently in the conference finals at the recording of this video. They're up 2-0 in that series. Good production numbers, almost a half point per game or slightly less. 24 points in 58 games played from the 3rd round defenseman in Vetti Vasanen. His time on ice and his role has been increasing from the start of the year. Like I said, he moved from Finland, so maybe the coaches didn't feel comfortable with him, or the player didn't feel comfortable in North America. But as the season went on, his time on ice increased, and he went from 3rd pairing to the 1st pairing for the defense. So that's always great to see as well. It's also great that these prospects played in the playoffs. They made it far in the playoffs. It's great that young players have that pressure cooker environment and situation built into their DNA as they're developing. So when they move to Utah or the Roadrunners and they're in the playoffs, they could bring that experience forward with them. Then we'll go to the Ontario Hockey League, led by another 1st round picked after Iginla last summer. Cole Baudouin, 51 points in 52 games played, so his point per game pace slightly increased from last year. His team is in the conference finals. They're currently down 2-0 at the recording of this video. Again, he has 11 points in 14 playoff games from the big centerman Cole Baudouin, 6'2", 209 pounds. And then we go to our 2 Sault Ste. Marie players playing in the Ontario Hockey League. Owen Allard, they're both wingers, drafted in the 5th round. His point per game pace, almost a point per game, 28 points in 31 games played. Allard suffered from a number of injuries this season, but when he was in the lineup, he was playing pretty productively. He had 4 points in 5 playoff games, And Noel Nord, 52 points in 47 games played from the third round winger. He had 3 points in 5 playoff games. They both lost in the first round of the playoffs. They also both have entry-level contracts with Utah, so we should see him with the Roadrunners next season. Noel Nord started the season with the Roadrunners, played like 2 games, and then was sent back down to the junior leagues just to get more development over there. Then we go to the Quebec League, led by a huge centerman, Gabe Smith, 6'5", 207 pounds. A good increase in production, going from 23 points to 39 points. But in the playoffs, he has 15 points in 11 playoff games. He's currently in the conference final, and his team is up 2-0. He plays a heavy physical game, but brings that skill to his size as well, considering he has 15 points in 11 games played. Then we go to Lavoie. He signed an entry-level contract with Utah a couple months ago, third-round pick defenseman. Unbelievable point production, 55 points in 60 games played. I was burned by another Quebec defenseman who was racking up points as well a couple of seasons ago, Jeremy Langlois. But this time, Lavoie plays more physical. He has that physical edge to his game, along with the point totals. Lavoie was 4th in Quebec points in terms of defensemen. For Langlois, he didn't have that physical edge. The scouts said he lacked that defensive play, which is why they moved on from Langlois, didn't offer him a contract, and I believe still playing in Quebec. No other NHL team wanted to sign him either. So great stuff by both Quebec players, Gabe Smith and Thomas Lavoie. Then we go to the NCAA, led by our best goaltender prospect, Michael Hurabal. He won the bronze medal with Czechia in the World Junior Tournament with teammates Hradic, Wojtek Hradic. Unbelievable numbers, goalie numbers for Hurabal. 19 wins, 12 losses, 5 overtime shootout losses. A .924 save percentage is literally elite numbers. He's 6'7". He's a huge, big boy. He lost in the NCAA semis in that tournament the NCAA has. He'll probably play one more year in the NCAA, but you never know. They might sign him to a contract, and we might see him for the first time in that prospect tournament. But our biggest goaltender prospect, you shall let him cook. There's really no immediate need for Hurabal to play for the Roadrunners or battle for a spot for Utah right now. Then we'll go to Castagna, centerman, drafted in the 3rd round. A bit of an underwhelming season in terms of production, and the scouts agreed with that as well. But they said, he played against the top line, the opposition's top line. He's good at faceoffs, and he's getting better away from the puck. Just, an underwhelming offensive production season for Castagna. His team, Cornell, lost in the quarterfinals in the NCAA tournament. Then we go to defenseman Will Skahan, drafted in the 2nd round. His first season in the NCAA, 7 points in 30 games played. As NCAA teams, as their better players graduate away from college to whatever leagues they move on to, these young players in their first year will get elevated in the lineup. So you might see Skahan move from 3rd pairing to 1st pairing. And the scouts say he plays really good defensively, and he's pretty hard to play against. He engages physically. His primary focus is to close gaps with his body instead of his stick. So the Utah Scouts love that from him. And then we go to the Russian League, the KHL. So much buzz around Dmitry Simashev and Daniel But, yet Utah cannot sign them just yet. They're still playing in the KHL playoffs. They're currently in the conference finals. Again, at the recording of this video, they're up 1-0 in that round. Simashev, 6'5", 203 pounds. He is trusted. He is relied upon for such a young player. But and Simashev, they're about 20, 21 years old. The KHL favors veterans. They don't really like to play younger players because they know they're going to be moving on from Russia to North America. But the locomotive team, that these two players play for. They're great at developing. They love Boot and Simashev. They're so accommodating for Bill Armstrong and Utah. They're in constant discussions about these players. And the Utah Scouts love the development of both of these guys, their time on ice, and their confidence has increased in both seasons. And for Daniel Boot, who's seen an increase in point production, they say his confidence with the puck, holding onto the puck, has increased tremendously from last year. And then we have a breakout year for Vadim Moroz. Elite Prospects, the website shows he's staying in KHL for another year. He is currently 21 years old, so he's getting up there a little bit in age in terms of a prospect, but not as old as Fedotov, who's 22 years old, who probably will stay in KHL again at that age. But Vadim Moroz, a breakout year, 26 goals, 44 points in 66 games played. He plays for Dynamo, and his team lost in the playoffs. They went pretty far, I believe. I'm not sure if they lost in the second or third round. And then Fedotov, who didn't get any points in the KHL last year, he's a second round pick. He was drafted in that same round as Josh Doan. And look where Josh Doan is, how much he's progressed. And still, Fedotov, he was taken even before Matthew Nyes. So a bit of a scouting blunder there, just a couple positions before Nyes. But he's slowly getting some production. He changed teams in the KHL. Now he's playing for Sochi. He had 10 points in 28 games played over there. It's his fourth full season in the KHL for Fedotov. Then we go to Finland. Samu Bao, another big centerman, 6'5", 216 pounds. Slight increase in production, still a bit low. But the scouts say about Samu Bao that he's gaining more offensive confidence as the season goes on and as he develops throughout his young career. He actually had 5 points or 4 points. He had 5 points in 8 playoff games. So his production clip went up drastically from his regular season numbers of 10 points in 40 games played. Then we go to Sweden. Just a note, we traded Victor Soderstrom. He left North America in October to go to Sweden, and then he was traded in that Shea Weber trade. So now he's in the Chicago organization, which is why you don't see him here. We'll start with Gregor Byber, drafted in the 4th round, defenseman, 18 years old, playing in the SHL, the highest league in Sweden. That is completely unheard of. 18-year-olds do not start their career in Sweden at the highest level. But scouts have nothing but good things to say about him. He's really strong defensively and plays with that physical edge as well. 3 points in 50 games played. I can't wait for him to just get older, already playing in a high competitive league, and we'll see how he develops moving forward. Ludvig Lofton, he recovered from off-season injury, so his production was a little slow to start the season, but he settled at 19 points in 42 games played for the 6th round defenseman. And then our other goaltender prospect, Melker Thielen, he played for Sweden in the World Junior Championships. I believe they finished 4th. They lost to Czechia in the bronze medal game. Great goaltending numbers as well as Hurlball. 16 wins, 6 losses, a .908 save percentage. That is good as well, just not as elite as Michael Hurlball. I'm excited for Thielen as well, just to see how he increases moving forward. He is playing in the SHL next season, so he will graduate from the Swedish Junior League, and we'll see how he performs in the highest league in Sweden before moving on to North America. Then we go to Czechia. Hradic, he had a coming out party, breakout year like Moroz. He was excellent in the World Junior Championships, winning bronze. He's a defensive centerman, and he's 6'4", 201 pounds. So a lot of big centermen here, Hradic, Bao, and Gabe Smith. I expect Utah, I know this isn't a draft video, I think they're going to go heavy on selecting centermen in the next draft. I'll have a draft video in June, don't you worry. But they have a lot of defensemen in their draft pipeline. They have a lot of defensemen in Tucson, and they have a lot of defensemen already in Utah. So I think they could hold off on defensemen and just focus more on gaining and drafting centermen. You can never have too many darts for the dartboard over there. Then we go to Ailes Czech, who is yet to score in the regular season, but funnily enough, he has 2 goals in his most recent playoff experience with his team. He had 3 points in 11 playoff games in the playoffs. Then we go to unlisted players. Already mentioned Iginla. Tanner Lutka, like Iginla, suffered season-ending injury. This time it was his shoulder, whereas Iginla, it was his hip. And Lutka is actually moving and changing NCAA teams. He's moving on from Omaha, and he's going to go play with Minnesota, who's a great development team. Logan Cooley came out of Minnesota, and I think they're the highest college team to produce NHL prospects. So I expect big things from Lutka moving to Minnesota, and we will follow his trajectory over there. Zlinka, Morden, Thomas, they all play in the NCAA. Just the scouts don't have much to say about them, and their production levels are pretty low. Carson Musser is a goaltending prospect. He was a backup and barely played for his college team in the NCAA. Anson Thornton, he is a prospect, a free agent prospect they signed like 3 or 4 seasons ago. He's still in the East Coast Hockey League with the Allen Americans. He plays in pretty much every prospect tournament in September, so maybe we'll see him make an appearance again in September. And Korhonen, he's been in the organization for a while. Again, 3 or 4 seasons. He bounces around in Europe. He went from Finland to Sweden most recently, and his goaltending numbers aren't too hot, so just keep an eye on him. But that's a season review for the Utah prospects. They're going to be adding a lot more players to this board at the draft in late June. I love some of these movements, their step forward, their improvements. Cole Boudouin had a great season. That's great for a highly touted prospect drafted in the first round. I'm excited for, Gabe Smith, a big centerman. Bao and Hradic, I'll keep an eye on as other big centermen, because the centerman position, it's pretty weak for Utah. So hopefully these players and draftees gain more confidence and have a strong off season and get the season starting in October off on a good foot. Lavoie, Kipke, I always praise Kipke. Maybe he'll sign an entry-level contract in the summer. I would love to see him closer to the team with the Roadrunners. He always plays in the prospect tournament when he was eligible. So hopefully he has a good tournament there, a good training camp. I would love to see him not play in the Western Hockey League next season and move on to the Roadrunners, just to get good eyes on him. Owen Allard and Nord, they had great junior seasons. I expect them to be better with the Roadrunners and add that skill and speed to the Roadrunners lineup. And obviously, Boot and Simishev, we're waiting on them to sign their contracts. That's going to be a huge day for Utah. These are 2 first-round picks drafted a couple seasons ago. We had to trade Chikrin to get Daniel Boot, and we have yet to see him in North America, so that'll be a great day. And to see them in that prospects tournament for the first time and see them play hockey for the first time, really looking forward to that as well. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.